You guys are going to be in Italy for like a week and a half, right?
Yeah.
So what cities are you guys visiting?
Rome, Milan, Venice, Florence, and that's it.
I have to tell you the story, but in Milan, I don't know if you guys hear about this. There are these guys that walk around putting friendship bracelets on you. And
That's
it's
like all over Europe anyway.
right.
Friendship bracelets?
Yeah,
Yeah,
friendship
they call it
bracelets,
friendship
right?
I don't want friends.
Right?
So they just
come up
say
to you.
it's free. Usually, if you have kids and stuff,
Yeah.
they'll come up and they'll be like, "Oh, it's free," and they'll be like, "Okay," and then like they'll get it. And then
But they want a
like,
donation.
add money.
Yeah.
Usually
Yeah.
$5 or $10.
That's like those monks in Manhattan.
Yeah, you just gotta like just
They
yell
give
at
me
them.
these bracelets.
That's the one thing that I hate about traveling. Like
Oh my
tourist
God,
traps.
yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I hate it enough just going through Times Square. Do you guys like going to Times Square?
No.
It's one of the
Only if I have to.
even
Yeah.
if I have to, I don't want to. You know, like imagine you having to go to these other places. It's like Times Square on crack. Just people just bothering you.
If you ever sit down, I've done this a few times, sit down like on Times Square and just watch what happens there. You see people targeting other people
Oh, yeah.
to like, you know,
Oh,
scam
yeah.
them
Yep,
or
yep.
do
Scammers,
whatever.
You see them. Yep.
And I'm always aware, like, I grew up in New York City, so it doesn't work on me. But
Oh, he's
if-
very hyper aware. Like
Yeah.
back to like his assessing situations when we travel. He's like super paranoid and like
Ben's like that.
I'm like that
walking
too.
around, making sure
Yeah,
like,
I was
no
about to
one's
beat up-
coming near him, where we're at.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I was
it's
about
fine.
to, I was about to
It's
beat up an
fine.
old lady in Venice because she was a little too close to me. I thought she was about to pickpocket me. I was about to like fucking beat her ass to the ground.
Listen here, Nona.
I don't want your meatballs. Where you guys going to Venice too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pickpockets. Not just the friendship bracelet people, but pickpockets too.
Yeah.
Like
I hear Rome is pretty bad with
Rome is bad,
Yep,
Venice
just
is
In front of
bad.
the Coliseum,
Just-
trying to.
I'm throwing elbows. I'm like, don't get close to me, man.
Even Italy, what I like didn't like was restaurants are like crazy with like they like call whatever price. They think you're a tourist. There's no pricing on most of the
wow.
menus. So like whatever they call is the pricing.
They give you the
Yep.
tourist price versus
Yep.
the local price.
So
Wow.
when you go and don't see pricing, ask like first, like how much is this? Like
Before you order.
Before you
otherwise
order it.
they'll be like, yep, crazy.
Right.
Put them on the spot.
And
Majority.
also there's no tipping there,
right.
right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they expect you to tip them in cash, especially in
And if you're
Rome.
tourists, they expect tip now because like all
Oh,
this,
they got used to
Americans
it. Yeah.
like ruined
we
it.
learned that when we went to Iceland where
Yeah,
we
yeah.
started leaving tips and they were like, what is this?
Yeah.
You guys should
Like,
just speak Spanish to each other while you guys are there.
I mean, we'll probably we'll talk a lot in Spanish, I think, over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I've done no research on this for this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. We're just winging it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what we did too.
You did.
Garrett's plan.
Ben winged it.
I winged it. I just showed up, you know?
Because we went with my parents, so there was like 6 of us. So even renting a car, because I got Airbnbs. We went to 3 locations. I got Airbnbs in all places, and we were planning on driving. So even
Yeah.
like renting a car, getting an auto car that fit like all of us, and
Oh,
because there
yeah.
were 6 of us, we had like crazy amount of luggage.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we went to go pick up our car, they eventually did not have the car they like promised us. And Italy, like you drove
All the cars are manual transmission, and I don't
right.
drive stick.
and they drive like mad person all over Italy. They drive super like
Aggressive?
super fast, aggressive, and roads are super narrow. Remember
Well, we
that?
are renting a car, so
Yeah.
But make sure it's automatic. Well, I don't
we
know.
did get
Maybe-
automatic.
Yeah.
It was a lot more
Yeah,
expensive, but
Yep.
Yeah.
we needed it.
So we ended up with like a small little hatchback,
Like
the 6 of us.
Volkswagen.
with all our-
Wow.
Yeah, so literally our kid, like one of our kids, like sat on the like where the foot goes.
What's the statute of limitations? Can we get arrested?
So we put like towel. They're like, this is so fun, but
We got a van, but we didn't get the van, you know?
yeah, it was like
Oh,
a
God, I
small
hope that doesn't happen to
Volkswagen.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Gets
I mean, it's
smaller.
4 of us.
Yeah,
And a baby.
I know how to drive stick either way, so we're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are not just going to 2 of you.
No.
No.
Well, so backstory, we had this trip planned in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
May of 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and then COVID. So it was us and my best friend and her husband. And
They've had a kid since COVID.
yeah. So we have an additional traveler. So he's going to be international.
How old is the baby?
He's a year.
Oh,
Mm.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun. When you guys go to Tuscany, you guys are going to Florence, right?
Yeah.
Right. So in Tuscany, there's a restaurant called something Verrazano, right?
I'll just like Staten Island. Okay.
Right? You know, we went to this restaurant in Tuscany. It was something. There were different dining options.
It's winery.
It's a winery.
Yeah, you picked it.
So I was like, we'll go there. Why not? Right? We went there. I was like,
nice.
and yeah, it was really, the food's really
Yeah,
good.
go there.
So good.
Something Verrazano.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's all you got to find it, right?
Verrazano.
It's a winery. So the wine's good. The food's good. And
really
they're like, yeah, we get a lot of Americans here. A lot of New Yorkers, especially.
Wait, no, this name sounds familiar.
Wonder why.
Is there a $20 toll?
So anyway, are you guys focused AF?
No, not right now.
But we will be.
You guys ready to start this podcast?
Yes, welcome to the Focus AF podcast. I'm Jen.
I'm Ro.
I'm Karis.
And I'm Ben. And we are Focused AF.
There you go.
Just you right now.
The complete opposite of last week, Ben.
All right. So anyway, this week we are going to be interviewing our good friends, Jenn Ro Molina
What's
of
up?
JR Photo NY. Which I think is hilarious. Ever since I've met them, I was like, "Don't you guys live and work in New Jersey? Why is it
Or
NY?"
some people pronounce JR for Tony.
For Tony, yeah. For Tony.
Yeah. Did you guys ever buy? Is it available for sale?
What, JR Photo?
It still is.
No, JR Photo and J.
It still is.
You should just buy it.
It's gone down. Well, they wanted like $12,000.
No,
I didn't
JR
know
Photo
about it.
and J?
No, you should just do JR Photo. Yeah.
No, JR Photo is
Yeah, so-
super expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Somebody has
Because
it?
we're the only ones that want to buy it, and you know.
But is something there or somebody just
Yeah,
has
yeah.
it?
They try to sell it to us numerous times.
Nothing's in it. I
Oh,
don't
nothing's
think.
in it, right?
Nothing
They're
in
not
it.
running a
Yeah,
business.
I waited 10 years. I waited
That's
10 years to buy
crazy.
benloud.com.
We've made offers. I think their last offer was like $7,000. I
Are
was
you
like,
serious?
I'm just gonna keep using for Tony.
Yeah. we tried changing it many times, but I'm just like, you know what? We're here. It's been this long.
It's been this long already.
It is what
You
it
know?
is.
We do own jennandro.com.
Yeah.
So
We own benandkaris.com and karisandben.com.
Nice.
We own a whole bunch of domains I don't know we'll ever use, but we own them.
subscriptions.
Subscriptions. Sure. But anyway, we have been good friends with Jenn Ro for many years now. Probably going on too many years now. So
It's 2017.
16.
16.
I want to say 16.
Do the math, Ben.
16. That's probably what,
6
7, 8
years.
years?
7.
Something like that.
6 years.
7.
That's 7 years.
7.
Seems like 70. But
Can do our math here.
But
Time
you know,
flies.
ever since we met them in Las Vegas, we haven't been able to shake them. You know, we can't get rid of
We
them.
haven't been able to shake you, Ben.
Shout out to Dolly PPI.
Yeah. So in any case, so what we're gonna do today, we're gonna learn a little bit more about my friends or our friends, Jenn and Rolando. You guys ready for this?
We're ready.
All right. These are very hard hitting questions.
Oh, God.
All right. So
Bring them on.
first question up. First question. What were you guys doing before wedding photography came into your lives?
Fresh out of school, sort of. I was still a part-time college student. I do have a degree in mechanical engineering that I don't use, like most of us.
Listen, I have a German degree, okay? I don't use that word nothing, okay? It's worthless.
It sounds nice, but I'll gladly give it back to get rid of my student loan debt.
Yes. How do we get refunds on those?
Are you guys done paying your student loans yet?
No, I don't owe a lot. It's one of those things that are just like
Just there and you just, auto pay. Yeah.
Yeah. If I
Karis
really
just-
wanted to, I
Mine
could.
just
She
got.
just paid off her student loan.
They sent
Right.
me like final email with like
Yay.
confetti. Yay.
Nice.
It's been 20 some years we've been paying for this loan.
No, it's been on pause since the pandemic, so we haven't paid a thing.
Yeah.
It's still deferred with no interest right now, but I do plan on paying it back
Eventually, one day.
We are being recorded right now. This can be entered into evidence.
We've just been waiting for our president to wipe out some of it, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my background, and I almost became a NYPD police officer.
Speaking of
Yeah.
divine intervention, I think going back to Ben's story from last week.
Yeah,
but
I was close, really close to
And
getting.
they found out you had like flat feet.
No, it was some stupid like
Something that you did when you were younger?
sort of.
Younger-ish.
Yeah. Like, to be honest, it was it wasn't a big issue. If I would have hired a lawyer, I could have fought the disqualification, but it wasn't meant to be, and I'm kind of glad that it didn't
I want to
happen.
hear more about this delinquent thuggish.
No,
It's
it
not
was-
that bad. I don't
yeah,
know
it's
why
not
you're
that bad.
skirting around it.
was,
It's so simple.
Yeah. So what happened was I was living in New York, and I had out of state auto insurance. So as soon as I started the process, I quickly changed everything over, and they took that as that I was committing insurance fraud. So it's not, like I said, it's not a big
That
deal.
stops
but
you from
yeah.
becoming an NYPD.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh.
Yeah.
But also, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God for your
Yeah.
insurance fraud.
Yeah.
God, you were
Yeah.
a minor criminal.
I mean, have you seen what people pay for their cars in New York City?
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer, to commit
Yeah,
that
yeah.
insurance fraud.
Have you guys had brushes with the law? Like with the law?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Was that your only incident?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You want to hear mine? So I was 20 years old. I had a thing for this 23-year-old. We couldn't go out to a lot of the places where she wanted to go out because I wasn't old enough to drink.
All right.
So I went up to my cousin, right? I was like, hey, give me your social security card, right?
Let's wait. The social.
I need some ID. I need like 2 forms of ID, right? And so I went to the motor vehicles with his documents to get a fake ID.
Well, a real
A
ID.
real ID.
But it's a real ID, but
Real license.
Wait, did
his
he not have his
information
own
with my
ID?
picture, right? What's that?
Did he not have his own ID?
He did, but I can't bring that because they're going to compare the picture
Oh, so you want to take a picture with his
with
name?
his information.
Pretty much,
Okay.
yeah. He's
Oh,
like,
man,
that's me. And
that's a big
I need
fraud.
a license. That's like,
So that was big time, right? So
he went to jail.
So, no. So I didn't go, so I'm with the motor vehicles, and they keep calling my cousin's name. I was like, my cousin's here? Why do they keep calling my cousin's name, right? Why? What's going on here, right? And he, oh, that's me. So anyway, I left that day with my brand spanking new
fake ID.
fake ID. Well,
Like
it's
Like
a
real
real
ID
ID.
with his
Temporary
face
ID,
on
no?
it. No.
No, it's a real one.
It's a real
What
wait.
state was this in?
Maryland.
That's why.
Oh, I was like, there's no way that happened.
Yeah,
here. 'Cause,
yeah.
don't they have
in
the
New
photos
York-
on record? Let me
Yeah.
compare.
No, they do. So anyway, let me tell you, I still got a lot more to this story, right? So I got the fake ID or the real ID.
The
And
nerve of walking in there, you know what I mean? Agency, like,
Balls.
so you're talking about risk adverse? I'm not. So I think that following week, the girl dumped me, right? So now I had this ID for nothing. I broke the law for no reason. And so now I'm a free man. Like I said, I'm a single guy on the prowl, on the loose. So I'm going on to these nightclubs and stuff like that. Because all my friends had fake IDs, but they had the fake IDs that you would get in the college dorm. You know what I mean? I got like a legit one. So anyway, so my cousin's getting really nervous now, right? He's like, oh, so what happens to my license? Because you told him that I quote unquote lost my license, so you needed a new one. That's why we got this new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I'm gonna go and get a real one now, right? You just keep this one, and I'll go in. And I was like, don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that. He does it anyway, right? It's like, hey, it's you again. When he showed up, and they detained him.
No.
They're like, you were here 2 weeks ago for an ID, and you're back already. You lost your license already. So they looked at all his relations. And because he lived with us at the time, that's why I was able to get all this. Anyway, so they looked at all the relations in the house. They're like, it's that motherfucker right there, Ben fucking Lau. It's your cousin. Your cousin came by 2 weeks ago, didn't he? Right? Anyway, I got a lawyer. I got a slap on the wrist, but I'm not a felon.
Glad to hear it.
Did you get like probation?
I had to do not customer service. I had to do community service. Very different from customer service. I had to do 100 hours of community service.
So you were picking up garbage in the highways?
No.
in orange suit.
Which is the color of this podcast, by the way. We're gonna have
Back to his roots.
which is the color that I'm wearing right now too. So actually, I worked at a consignment store It was like a church consignment store or whatever. So they needed someone to kind of keep the place tidy. So I was working there for like the whole week, maybe 2 weeks or whatever the 100 hours ended up being. So yeah, I got off scot-free for that. And actually, after I was finished with my community service, I had a notation on my license. So even if I did turn 21, I wasn't allowed to drink.
What?
Yeah, there's some kind of probationary license. Like, this is your punishment. Even when you do turn 21, like, you're not allowed to drink.
For how long?
I don't know. I don't recall.
Probably
I don't think anyone knows what that notation means.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So they see the birthday and you're in, right? But whatever. So funny story was, I'm already under probation, right? And I meet another girl. We were all drinking. Actually, now I'm legal. She's not legal. We're at a house party and the cops raided it, right?
Oh my gosh.
But I could have left her ass in the apartment, but I didn't because I'm a gentleman. So I stayed behind, even though I was under probation. And basically, I got in trouble for, I guess, supplying alcohol to the minors.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
40 hours community service, y'all. Back to the consignment store for me. Yeah.
They were probably happy to see you.
Hey, it's you again. This motherfucker. So that was my brush with the law.
Okay.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
So, did you actually get arrested?
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
That's so funny.
Well, I'm not going to talk about my arrest.
Were you in handcuffs?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Silver bracelet.
Yeah.
Another very minor brush with the law.
Yeah.
No hard criminal stuff here.
It was a warrant for an unpaid ticket.
Warrant sounds.
Yeah.
What? For what?
For an unpaid like summons.
Yeah. Was it
What were you getting
ticket?
summoned for?
No, it wasn't a parking ticket. It was this is like back then during like my
Your thug years?
like car racing days. So I got a summons in Long Island for modified muffler. So
See, we're hard criminals over here.
so like since Long Island and New York City have different jurisdictions. Long Island does it like Jersey, where wherever town you get pulled over in is the town you have to go to court. So I forgot about it. Like I went 2 years without paying this ticket, and then at the time, my brother was working in the city, so he texted me to go pick him up because he was getting out late. I said, "Sure, I'll pick you up." So I pick him up like around 12 midnight. And we're heading home. We're about to get on the 59th Street Bridge, and there's a checkpoint.
For drinking?
Probably,
whatever,
yeah. It's just like a random checkpoint. And of course, they see me, young Spanish Latino with a hat, chain, and they profile me. They pull me over. They run my license, and and they tell me I have a warrant, and then they have to arrest me. So I was like, oh man, like I'm going to jail. So the funny thing is, like, they take your car, like, but my brother was in the passenger side, so they tried to give him the car to take home, and he has a suspended license too.
So you got two brothers in jail?
No. His license was suspended, but he didn't have a warrant.
So he just couldn't drive.
Yeah, he couldn't drive. So they took the car, and he had to find his way home on the train. And they took me in handcuffs. They arrested me, and it was the worst 2.5 days that I experienced during that time. They took me into central bookings. They checked me in. Oh. They almost let me go with it's like a court appearance ticket. So basically, they arrest you. They take you to the precinct. They give you this ticket to appear in court before a judge. So you don't go to jail. As he's writing up that ticket, the computer just blanks out, shuts off. And this is like 1 a.m. There's no IT in the precinct.
So he's like, you gotta go in.
Oh, he was pissed. The cop was pissed because he was on a double shift, and he wanted to go home. And now he's upset because he has to take me downtown to Century Street. But yeah, I was there for 2.5 days to see a judge for a stupid summons. I was in there with like.
Bad
people that were there for murder, attempted
But you know
murder.
what you need to do, Ro, when you get in there? You got to find the biggest guy, punch him in the mouth.
Yeah, it was.
And don't drop the soap.
The stuff that I saw in central bookings in New York City is not
really in that short amount of time.
People were smoking crack in the cell.
Inside the cell?
Inside the cell that I was in, because they don't really search you. Like all the way. So it's just whoever arrests you, they take you to the precinct, they make you take your shoelaces off, and they just do like a mild search. So
where are they hiding the crack? They're hiding in their butt cracks.
Yep. So
people.
people
Crack that tastes like somebody else's crack.
People were smoking crack in the cell that I was in.
That's so crazy.
I can't believe I'm talking about this in the podcast.
That's what's talking about Atlanta.
That's what you did before photography. You were
a criminal.
Slight minor criminal.
So Jen,
I was a printer.
That's not as good of a story as your life of crime.
So Jen, do you like to hang out? Do you always pal around with criminals and
I was on the other side of the
like
fence.
the bad
Thank you very
boys?
much.
You like the bad boys? Are you attracted to bad boys and criminals? Or is this a new thing?
No.
Did I know you when I was
In jail?
Arrested? We were dating. What are you talking about?
She'd have her hand on the glass, on the other side of the glass. It's like, I'll wait for you.
I called my dad, remember?
That's right. So her dad, Jen's dad is retired.
And my
Yes, I remember.
So he still had friends, and he was calling the courts to figure out why I was there for so long. And what happened is they run your fingerprints through all 50 states to make sure you're not wanted. So since I've never been in the system, it took forever to get that cleared. But
Well, now we talked about Ro's life of crime. No brushes with the law since, guys. I promise.
no. That was very petty that they arrested me for that.
Yeah, and I was on the other side of not crime, I guess. The other side of the fence. I was a foster care social worker. I lasted 2 years.
That was rough.
Yeah, that was a very hard 2 years of my life. I started my college education going for teaching. Learned I didn't want to do that. And then I switched to social work, graduated. And if you don't have a master's, you're going into kind of a lower level of casework, which is case management, dealing one-on-one with clients, all that fun stuff. So in New York State, or New York City rather, there's ACS, which is the ones that assess situations and decide whether or not to remove them. And when the child is removed, they go to agencies. I worked for an agency. I got a caseload of kids that I had to oversee and oversee their parents. So that was
So you were a social worker and you were in the slammer.
Yeah.
Right? So how
Temporary.
So so at what point does photography come into the picture?
So we got married in 2008. And then in 2010, my cousin brought a DSLR D60.
Backstory, Jen always had a digital camera everywhere she went.
Yeah, I had little power shoots.
She
Sony's.
always had little cameras. And then I was always taking pictures of cars as well. And I've always wanted a DSLR, but, humble beginnings. We didn't have much money to buy a camera.
You might get the gold chain though.
But Jen's cousin, who's a graphic designer, he bought a D60 and brought it over to Jen's parents' house where we were living. And then we picked it up, started messing with it, and we bought one the next week, the following week.
Yeah. And at the time, I would dabble in same thing to you guys, side hustles. I used to make invitations on
She had
Etsy.
an Etsy store.
I had an Etsy store.
Or eBay.
Do they have
Ro-
cutesy names and stuff for these Etsy stores?
Our name was
names.
JR Party Designs.
She used to make
Sticking to the roots,
invitations.
JR.
Yeah, because Ro worked in a print shop, so he
Yeah.
would print everything. I would design it, he would print it.
Stealing from work, I see.
And,
I see a pattern.
you could-
I see a pattern here.
It's only stealing if you get caught.
But that was a hustle.
Was that your foray into, small business ownership?
Yeah.
Were there any other small business owners in your family or entrepreneurs in your family?
My family is very old school, traditional. You have to work for the city, have a pension, do your 20,
Play it safe.
play it safe.
Yeah. My family has I have a couple of uncles, aunts that own businesses. Some of them did well. Some of them were just getting by, but it didn't really have an impact on me or influence me anyway.
Yeah, because I don't think they were close by. There were other cities or other countries.
So photography came into your life just casually, I guess. So you got this first camera the week after this thing landed on your lap, right? So I guess it became a hobby at first, probably.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess at what point does it become more than just a hobby? How does that transition happen?
I want to say
That same year.
That
no?
same year.
Yeah.
Yeah. My friend from high school, her mom was getting remarried to her high school sweetheart. They had just reconnected, having a very small wedding at a restaurant. they had seen us posting random pictures online, like road
Of
photograph flowers.
Were you shooting with a 360?
Yeah.
With the pop-up flash?
Yeah.
I was actually a decent. I was well-rounded.
Uh-huh.
I was in that stage where I was just like buying stuff, learning everything.
Yeah.
Not much has changed 13 years later.
Exactly.
But it was more of like I was just dabbling in everything. Like I was taking pictures at Raceway Park. During those times, whoever came in first, second, third place will hold up a trophy. So I kind of got good at shooting cars and taking pictures of people. And I was doing candids of them like working on their cars and stuff. So Jen kind of just like taking pictures of our nephew and like, kids and stuff. We were just posting stuff like that. We were just posting like, landscapes. Yeah, like flowers.
No weddings.
And then your friend's mom just reached out.
Yeah. They wanted the photos, I guess, because they were on a budget. They wanted something. And they said we would do a good job.
It was a small restaurant wedding.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. It was like very intimate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So at what point do you think, okay, we're onto something? At what point does that happen?
Again, 2 months later, similar to your story, another friend from high school, her photographer bailed on her like a week and a half before the wedding. I don't know if she paid him in full or whatever the case may be, but it was a larger wedding. It was at
Grand Oaks
in Staten Island. A little bit larger of a wedding. She saw that we had done for the other wedding and was like, you guys can do it. It's fine. Again, a smaller budget thing, and we did it and enjoyed it.
How much were you paid for this?
Ooh.
First wedding was like $200.
Yeah. How much was the second one?
Probably like $4.
Yeah.
Ooh, now it's big money now.
We're like, we gotta raise our rates.
So yeah, it was small bucks.
What did I get for $400?
At the time, we just gave him the files.
Just the files? Was that even edited?
It was like
edited.
half a day. I think we only shot for like 4 hours. So like
just the dinner kind of thing.
No, so it was like they got ready at the venue. We showed up at the tail end of that. So there wasn't that much like getting ready photos. It was just them like about to go do a first look, right?
Yeah. And the ceremony, and I think the
half of the reception.
Yeah.
It was like 4 hours, a short day.
Yeah.
But were you guys nervous while you guys were trying to figure this out? Like
at first, yeah, I actually brought my cousin with me as a third shooter just because I was afraid of botching everything, and I accidentally deleted his files. Right? Yeah,
I don't even remember that.
But like, luckily, he was there as a backup, so like I pretty much had everything that he had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just had alternate angles, so I lost his files.
Yeah, our first wedding was a shit show too.
But you make it work, and then I don't know when it started picking up after that. It just kind of gradually did between.
We were doing sessions, like
family sessions,
smaller things,
taking pictures of our families,
Sweet
like,
16.
Yeah.
So this is your side hustle now at this point.
Yeah, I was still full time, and he was still full time.
Yeah,
I didn't leave until 2016. So 2012 was I decided to quit being a social worker. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Desperate to leave. Like, I interviewed with like Apple. I got an interview. I didn't get the job, and I was devastated. I was ready to be an Apple, whatever they're called.
They looked you up, and they saw your husband's criminal past, and they're like, "That's not happening." I don't know what kind of brand you think we are, but we can't have none of that nonsense.
Genius bar? You wanted to be at the Genius bar?
Not the bar, but just a sales associate. But yeah, I would have made my way up to a genius.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't get that job.
Welcome to Apple.
That's literally what I would have done. But that, I was just desperate to get out of my job. And again, divine intervention. The same agency that I worked for as a social worker was hiring on the business side of the agency as far as like communications development, business operations. I transferred over to there, and that's literally how I learned everything about business. How to, I mean, it's different kind of marketing because it's nonprofit, but learned how to run social media, how to operate a business,
charity events,
how to host galas, conferences, events.
That's very important. Those are very important skills.
I credit, even though it was also like another 4 years of like pain. It was the best. I paid for my social work degree, and the value I got out of working for this side of the nonprofit was highly more valuable than my college degree.
Yeah. You didn't enjoy it in the beginning, though.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it took a little wake up call from her boss. Her boss saw how she looked like she didn't want to be there, and her boss confronted her about it.
Yeah.
And she just did a complete 180.
Yeah. So at what point does everything click for you?
It took a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't like for instance with what happened with you guys. It was within a year you were shooting 40 something weddings. That wasn't the case for us. It took years to build a business. It was tough.
I think it was partly credit to the fact that you jumped the wagon earlier.
Mhm.
We held on to our full-time jobs a little bit longer. So we were spending too much time going to work, commuting, getting home, working in the business. I would get home, work in the business from like 7 to midnight, have to go to bed, get up to go to work.
Right.
And the time spent wasn't doing anything for our business. So when we reached 2016, we saw there was a little bit more traction in the business. We were making a little bit more money. I was like, all right, it's time for me to go full time. So I could make it grow. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my next question for you is, how has your work and your approach evolved over the last 12, 13 years? You know, what are some things that you were doing back then that you're not doing now? What were the catalysts that inspired those changes in how you do, how you work and how you do things?
So early on, when you're just like influenced by all the big names in the industry, you tend to copy a lot of their work. So I was doing that. My work looked like there was 6 different photographers shooting the same work. As time went on and we were meeting with potential clients, we started to listen to how they described our work or what appealed them to our work. And we sat down and started thinking about like, all right, let's think about what they're saying about our work. How are they describing our work? We thought about it, and a lot of it was moment driven, you know, the candid style. So we just started sticking to that. Like we started sticking to our strengths and just built our business based on that and our style. We simplified everything. Like before I would bring like soft boxes, all these like strobes, and you know, I found myself like wasting time trying to create someone else's work opposed to mine's. Once we sat down and realized what clients were seeing in our work, and we started really narrowing down that style,
like leaning into this style that
as well as our branding, and that's when our business like started taking off.
What year was this, or what number of years is this? Is your 6th year, your 10th year in business?
I would say Jenn was probably full time for like maybe 2 years, right?
Yeah. So like
17, 18.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We had a very similar story as well. Very similar trajectory. So what was the catalyst for that change? Like you just realized that I don't want to shoot like these other people anymore. I just want to serve my clients better by being more authentic.
Yeah. It was definitely that. And what I realized quickly was that a lot of the people that were creating this incredible work, they were having trouble booking weddings, you know, and they were out shooting for other photographers. Once we realized what we were really good at and how to sell that and market that, and then we started showing only that type of work, that's when it just started, the floodgates just opened for us.
Well, you attract what you show.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I don't think people realize the importance of branding. They just put up amazing photos that don't really tell anything about you and your business and
what you offer, what you can offer to your target audience.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I preach this all the time. Yep. All right. Believe it or not, this question is actually already existing before we started this. Okay. What was the most proudest moment in your career?
I probably have a few. So Jenn went full time before I did. I stayed working for
3 years.
3 more years. So there was times where I felt like, was that gonna happen for me? 2019, right before the pandemic, I went full time. The perfect time to go.
Oh, you weren't full time before you were full time? You were full time when I met you.
No. I worked up until 2019. Yeah. So, don't get me wrong. We were shooting 30, 40 weddings still.
Yeah.
But I was still working 30, 40 hours a week.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So 30, 40 weddings. Like how long did it take for you to get to that pace, 30 to 40 weddings a year?
We've been doing it for the last, I think since Jenn went full time.
Yeah.
We were in the 30.
Traction picked up when I left and did it full time.
Because you had more time to do the marketing and all that kind of stuff. So that was like 2015.
2016.
I remember we went from 11 weddings to like 18 weddings to like 27 weddings to 37 weddings.
It was a
slower pace,
yeah.
And then we've stayed in that number.
Stayed in that number since,
I mean, you guys have aspirations to do more than that?
No. We're trying to cut back actually. It's a lot.
I mean, aside from the past few years where everyone was doing like 50 weddings because of COVID overdraws, but I think, what was the question again?
No, did you have aspirations to do more?
No, the original question.
What was your proudest moment in your career?
Did you finish?
No, let's go back, I guess. Yeah. So
are you guys focused AF? I don't think so.
Yeah, so for me, having to wait 3 years to be able to go full time, that was one of my proudest moments for myself.
That you're able to quit your job?
right.
pursue
and
this thing full-time.
supplement, the business can supplement not only Jen's income, but my income as well.
It was numbers based
Mm-hmm.
when you made that decision to
Yep.
jump ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder when two people have to jump ship.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys did a slight reverse from what we did.
Yeah, that goes back to me, the risk assessment.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were. I just knew that whatever we did, it was going to be fine. But like, we didn't do all the measurements.
I'll tell you what, when I got laid off from working at JP Morgan, 2011, right?
No, it was like 2013.
Okay, 2013. And we were dabbling in photography then. And when I needed it the most, it wasn't there. Like the business was not where it was supposed to be. So it took more years, but eventually we got to that point.
I think that's important. People to realize that it's not an overnight thing.
It's definitely not an overnight thing.
It's different for everyone, and it's just a lot of hard work behind the scenes. It's not, someone might say they did it in a year, which is possible, but
It happens.
It's very rare.
Yeah, I like to think that I'm the exception to the rule.
Yeah, I've met a couple of people in our area that similar story to yours,
but it's not a
It's not
normal
everyone.
story. It's not.
It's not.
Yeah, I thought that what I did was just working hard, and I just did what I did, and it just works, right? But after talking to so many photographers over the years, it's not a common story. It's not a common experience.
I think because you were blessed with the opportunity, or you had the drive to quit earlier to do it and have the time to do it. Not everyone's circumstances are different.
Right.
They can't leave their full-time job, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and we also had we didn't have as many bills either.
You had
we were
cushion,
living. I was living with Karis's parents at the time, living in the attic.
Yeah.
And so our bills. I mean, we had rent and maybe a couple of other bills and stuff, but we had less expenses overhead, in our personal lives.
It definitely helps.
A lot of other folks. So we were able to take a little bit more risk. Let's talk about your husband and wife dynamic working with your spouse. Okay. So my question for you is, and I guess some of the listeners probably want to know this, like, are you guys tag teaming your day-to-day work, or do you guys have like your own lanes that you guys stay in? Are you able to perform each other's jobs?
You got to stay in your lane. That's the only way that you can be cohesive with one another. You have to know what each other's strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, there's times where we swerve into each other's lanes, but we quickly have to remind ourselves, like, all right, this is Jen's thing, this is my thing.
Yeah.
And, there's times where we'll like discuss certain things, but, early on, when we used to just like split up the task, like sometimes Jen edited it, other times I edited it, that didn't work. Like it just.
Do you want to say why?
Jen has.
This is a therapy. This is part podcast, part therapy.
Like her colors are just the way she sees white balance is. It should be a crime.
Should be a crime.
Yeah.
You should go to jail.
So what was
you were under
happening-
arrest.
Yeah, what was happening was that if I was too busy to edit, Jen would edit, and then I would have to come home and re-edit the whole thing. So I said, you know what? You're not touching this anymore. You have to know. You have to know what each other's strengths are and stick to it.
Yeah.
And occasionally you are gonna bump heads. It's okay, but don't step into the other person's lane when you don't have to.
Yeah. I'm more of the marketing, business, running aspect, rolling edits and shoots.
Mm-hmm.
I show up to consultations.
And consultations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Showing up, just
Edits
showing
and
up.
consultations. So as the creative, sometimes he'll step into my lane and tell me how to market.
Mind your business.
His favorite line is that I'm watering down his brand.
She's been doing this for years. But I've learned to let go.
Yeah.
I've learned to let go.
Learn to
just
let go.
it be.
Because he can think like a creative where it's like, oh, this is an amazing image. I'm like, but that doesn't do it. Like, no one cares. Like, it's a great photo, but there's no story here. So that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So we butt heads on that. And I'll step into his lane. How do I step into your lane sometime?
Well, you call. So that's one of your tasks.
Oh, yeah.
Which is because I take too long to make decisions on things.
Yeah.
So there's certain things where you have to just let go. And I try not to go back to look at those images because it makes me wild if I find a better image and I'm just like, maybe I should call myself. No. But no, you just have to let it go. You have to let it go.
I suppose I'll tell him how to shoot or what to shoot, but mostly I mind my business now.
Yeah. Because Karis and I, we started this business together, we can perform each other's tasks. The only thing that she can't do is the IT stuff, like behind the blog and all that kind of stuff. But like, the contracting, the sales. By the way, she's using my sales script, by the way. Thank you very much, right? She can do the sales, she can do the editing, she can do the shoot, she can do all that stuff. But I think she prefers to just shoot, maybe edit a little bit. She doesn't enjoy the marketing, the blogging so much, but she can do it, right? And I think part of the reason for that is because our thinking was always like, if something happens to either one of us, the business can still continue. Because
we think about that sometimes, and I would be a dead fish out of the water.
That's what we think about too. We always joke and show, what would you do without me? We're like, I don't know what we would do.
Yeah, which is a bad way to run the business. Not a bad way, but it's our way, which has a flaw. Anything happens to either one of us, like, I'm sure we could figure it out. Yeah, it would definitely take time for each of us to learn all our tasks, or at least for me. I think Jen would be fine without me.
Oh yeah, I could find a shooter.
It's funny that you say that because, my wife and I, we have our own lanes too. I think I talk about the fact that, Karis and I, we can do a lot of each other's work. But even with that being said, we are able to do each other's jobs, but we have our own lanes, just like you guys do, right? So for instance, for the associate brand and for my brand, I do all the sales for the most part. I'll do all the sales consultations, and Karis takes care of all the service, everything after the consultation, right? So the scheduling, the logistics, the itinerary planning, all that stuff, she takes care of all that stuff too. And I think what has really kept the peace over the past 13 years is that we have to respect the other person's decisions when they're in their lane, when they're making decisions in their own lane. Even if we disagree with it, we have to stick with it because we have to be a cohesive unit. We have to show a unified face to the client. Because there's sometimes I give away discounts because I want the business that badly. And Karis is like, why the fuck are we giving this discount? I'm like, do we really want the business that bad? And I was like, listen, you're not doing the sales calls. You know how hard that it was for me to get this sale? We can give them a free poster print.
Everything.
Some thank you cards.
Some thank you cards, some save the dates and stuff like that. So, and then sometimes, she would, I don't know what she would do on the back end of stuff. She would give away free stuff too, I guess, on the back end. Like, why are you giving away free stuff? I got to pay for it now, or whatever it is. But those things were in her lane. So I don't mess with it. You got to
pick your battles.
Yeah. And also, like, she's in charge of editing, right? For our associate brand. So I don't even argue. Like if the white balance is off or not to my, not to my liking, I'm not going to say anything because this is her lane. Yeah. Right. So the editing process is the same between all of our three brands, but you're going to notice that the coloring is a little bit different. You know what I mean? The end product is going to be slightly different because, Karis goes through her process with the associate brand and I go through my process before it goes out for delivery. Even though it all goes through our main editor, Jeannie. The final touches and stuff, how we see white balance and how we see
different eyes.
Yeah, it's still very close. Karis and I, we're very close, but it's slightly different.
Yeah. Just don't let Jen edit for you.
We have an editor.
I have zero interest in editing, so that's fine.
We have an editor. So speaking of editing, are you guys using AI?
We are.
Yes, Aftershoot.
Shout out to Aftershoot.
Yeah, why Aftershoot? I know there's other players out there.
I'm going to be honest. It's their customer service. If you have any questions, you can reach out to their support or Justin, and they'll give you answers right away.
Yeah, they're very approachable people. They're not like a stuffy
Why are we giving them free ad time?
Because they're that awesome. Hello.
We're firm believers.
I'm kidding.
Think that I wouldn't want to advertise something that I don't believe in or use.
Yeah. So that's definitely helped the game. I was doing the coloring, I do that, and now it rolls over to him editing.
Yeah.
Are you using them for editing too?
Yeah, we're using them for coloring and editing. We locked into the founders deal.
How close are they getting you to the finished delivery, like final delivered product?
I would say it's about 70% for me.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I will, as a matter of full disclosure, I'm not sponsored by them either. But we've been using them since the very beginning. We were one of the beta testers. One thing for sure, and at least in our experience, Harshit, he's always been approachable. I know he's like a 12-hour time difference, and I would have a problem. And I know it's probably like in the middle of the night over there for him.
Yeah.
But he's like troubleshooting, screen sharing with us, trying to get this problem fixed. So this tells me that he believes in his software. He believes in what he's doing.
It's come a long way. The culling, the editing, and the editing itself. When I first used it, when they first released the beta, I would say it was getting me like 50% there.
Culling or editing?
Editing.
Oh, editing.
Yeah. And then as they were working on it, taking everyone's feedback, just kept getting better and better. So
it's a learning software.
Yeah.
We only started rolling it out slowly, the editing part of what they do. But we've been using the culling software for a long time, and it's getting better and better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
At first, it was a little racist because they thought we all had our eyes closed, but it's gotten better over the years. Yeah. So we're pretty happy with them.
Our after-shoot software shows that we've culled almost 900,000 images.
It's because we're overshoots a lot.
Yeah, how many frames are you doing per wedding?
Like maybe
right now, close to like 9,000.
Yeah,
that's really high.
Yeah.
And how many frames?
Changed since because we switched over to mirrorless.
So you don't feel the clicks?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. It's just,
you don't feel the clicks for mirrorless.
It's just more of like I do a lot of gifts for weddings, so
okay, no, but family portraits. You'll take like 10 of the same photo.
Why not?
Okay.
Memory's cheap, right?
Yeah. The last thing you need is for
a blinker,
Uncle Bob to blink, and then they ask you to Photoshop.
How many frames are you coming back with?
Me?
From a typical 10-hour wedding.
Probably like 2.
No, you're not.
To 3.
You shoot a lot too. So you always blame me, and I watch you shoot.
and this is without groom prep, because you don't shoot groom prep, right?
No, I don't. I shoot. I do bride prep.
So she should be. If you're at 2,500, I think that should be good. 10-hour days.
Yeah.
Jen's shooting like 3,000 images.
That would be a lot.
So out of almost 9, I'm doing half of what you do.
She uses one body, so that's a lot. If you were using 2 bodies, you'll be more prone to shooting even more.
You guys want to hear what we shoot?
What?
When Karis and I used to shoot together, I would come back with around 7.
7,000?
Yes, and then Karis would come in at around 2,500. And she would maybe 3,000.
Okay, yeah.
Almost.
But these days, she's shooting for herself. She's like, and she is coming back with at least 4,000 to 5,000 frames. But this is as a lead shooter now, so she's still pretty conservative.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
With the second shooter,
but 9,000 seems awfully high.
No, it depends. It depends on your style of shooting.
You're shooting through the moment.
Not only that, it's just more. So let's talk humble beginnings. What cameras we had in the beginnings. They never used to nail focus like they do now.
Oh, you're just doing it just in case.
So it's a habit that's developed over time. When you're shooting wide open and 1.4, I would always focus and recompose, and then just make sure that hopefully one would be in focus. With mirrorless, like if you do that, almost every single one is in focus. So it's more of like a habit of overshooting. Because the moment doesn't last long. I feel like we're not overshooting because of the moment. We're overshooting because we can.
Yeah.
So AI calling is probably a godsend to you.
Yeah, it brings us from like 9 down to like 3.
That's pretty good.
And then I do the rest.
Then you have the hand call the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys are living around 1,000 these days?
Less than 1,000, yeah.
Less than 1,000.
700-800.
Yeah. All right. I guess my next question for you guys is, how do you guys get your clients? Your first couple clients, you came through word of mouth, right? So how do you get your clients these days?
Yeah.
There's numerous ways.
Yeah.
I mean, we plant seeds everywhere. Like we were on the knot for years. Instagram is tremendous for us.
Instagram, I think, would be number 1, and then number 2 would be word of mouth. And
other vendors.
Now lately. We've been on
referrals and stuff. That's the word of mouth, right?
Yeah, it's considered word of mouth. But yeah, mostly Instagram. Got to play the game on Instagram, even though I don't like it. But
yeah, you guys are posting a lot though, and you guys got pretty good engagement too.
Yeah.
Spill your secrets.
It's like a full-time job. Instagram is like, you have to post multiple times a day. You have to be forward-facing. You have to show yourself, show your personality. It's like, we'll post Ro's beautiful work and get like 50 likes. We post a picture of me and him. We got like 250 likes. So it's like,
people want to see you.
Yeah.
They want to see who the face is behind the brand. They want to, I can't tell you how many times we meet clients and they feel like they know us just by us posting ourselves, even though it's uncomfortable. It's been a big component to our bookings.
Yeah, and I think that helps with relationships with clients, pre and post wedding.
Because sometimes they don't just buy the brand, they buy you. Or maybe you are the brand. They're not buying pretty photos. I mean, they are, but they're buying you, the brand.
Yeah. And some people want that more personal relationship than just going to a studio and like, hey, give me photographer A and photographer C. And then those are the ones you got on your wedding day. Some people like that, but
that's not the people you're attracting.
Yeah. And I think the newer generation coming in, they want that personal relationship with people. They want to know who you are, which is why social media is so popular and being in everybody's business.
So out of all the ways that you can market yourself, right? If you're only left with one way to market yourself for the rest of your career, what would that hill that you'll die on? What's the one way that you would market yourself? Which is like, this is the way, this is all I'm doing for the rest of my career.
Social media.
Yeah, I don't think social media will be going anywhere ever. I know people say like, oh, you can't rely your whole business on Instagram or TikTok or whatever because they can go away tomorrow, which is possible. But I think I just like to keep my hands in everything. So I can't say my hill to die on isn't one specific thing. It's to kind of throw out feelers everywhere, with right now the biggest being social media.
Social media.
You have to adapt. If not,
you have to adapt or die.
Yeah. There was that Facebook, like when Facebook was huge for like, leads, we missed that wave because our business wasn't there.
That's how I grew my business.
Yeah. And then, so when we were growing our business early on, Facebook was not the way to do it. You have to figure out what works for you and stick to it. And also see how things change and adapt. If not.
But I would even say that Facebook is an extension of word of mouth. You're tagging people, their friends and their networks. Now you have access to their audience. It's still word of mouth. It's just a different way of presenting that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So would you agree that we work in one of the most competitive markets on the planet?
Yeah. There's a lot of talent in the tri-state area. But there's also enough work
to go around for everyone.
Oh yeah.
What would you say is the thing that makes J&R Photo competitive? What makes you guys stand out among the sea of noise? Because I'm familiar with your work. Some of our audience, they might be familiar with your work, and I would as a close friend and also as an outside observer, I understand the kind of work that you're trying to produce and the way you're trying to show and the kind of clients that you're trying to attract. But if you just look at it at surface level, you might have other folks that shoot in a sort of similar style, right? So what makes you different? Why do clients go with you instead of our super talented colleagues? You like this question? I wrote this morning.
I do. I'm going to be, they're booking us for us.
Yeah.
For who we are. The work just brings them in, and the style brings them in. But the connection that we can create with our couples, even just by doing a consultation, we kind of get a vibe of who that couple is and, if our personalities will mesh well. I think that is key. Like like how we branded ourselves, how we show ourselves, how compassionate we are. And also like we're there to help them along the journey has been huge for us.
I think the number one thing clients always say to us after is how we kept things seamless for them. We were the easiest vendor they worked with. Everything was stress-free. We checked in on them. We kept things light. We kept things fun. We kept things moving. And I think that's important. I think a lot of people take their business as straight business, do not show themselves, do not show their personalities. They just want to go in, get the job done and be done with it and have no room for flexibility on how they run their business. For us, it's more of J&R is Jenn Ro, and that has to be blended in there. We don't want to go in and they're like, don't know who we are, don't know our personalities. And I think that's what keeps the customer, the client relationship going really well and leads to them telling everyone else who we are. And we tie that in with venues. We make good friends with maitre d's, other staff, they're raving about us. So I think just going in and there being ourselves and keeping everything moving well. And, the work is great, of course, but I think how we run the business on the back end is the magic key. And people ask all the time, like, what's the secret? And I just say, I don't know. I think it's just being us. And that's what I want to drive to people sometimes too, is like, be yourself and don't be afraid to show who you are and show some personality and connect with people, because that's what get them talking about you.
Yeah. That's free marketing too.
Yeah.
If you can get the client to feel that way about who you are, they will praise you, they'll spread the word, and all that is free. So I think we do a pretty good job at that.
Just be a good person.
Yeah.
Just be a good person. Be generous.
Yes, don't be afraid to give, to share.
I think that is the struggle with. I see it with a lot of folks. You know, like let's say coverage is over at 9, 8:55. All their shit is packed already.
I mean, I do that.
I mean, we do that.
But Ro is the one still shooting.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need two of us there. You know,
Karis is the same way. 8:55, the shit is everything's packed.
But I will never like just say, "Hey guys, it's 8:59. I'm out."
Right.
You know, like if there's something happening, I'm gonna be there in the action, capturing it, and then I'll say bye. Some people, I feel like you kind of see this issue when you have like people that are not shooting for their own brand, like they're working for someone else. They're playing that, you know, hourly game. Like I got clocked in at 8. I'm out at 8.
And this is what these are the same standard photos I have to get. And I think a lot of people don't think above and beyond the standard, if that makes sense. Like we're good at reading people, recognizing good moments, like what can be a powerful moment, what people in this couple's lives are important, and anticipating the kind of photos that are going to happen around them. Let's say there's an ill grandmother, and I think recently we had a groom dancing with her on the dance floor. I spent 10 minutes just capturing the same stuff, but I think a lot of people don't anticipate these things, or they don't care. They just be like, okay, and just kind of keep moving, anticipating what's important to couples and not what's important for your portfolio.
That's super important. That's a soundbite right there.
Yeah.
And after those 10 minutes of you photographing grandma and groom, 15 minutes later, someone's going, hey, did you get a picture of grandma with dancing with the groom?
You know what?
Are you kidding me?
That's my grandma now.
Oh, yeah.
All the pictures I have of her.
So you're already behind, sir. I already got that picture. Leave me alone. Go enjoy a beer. Get yourself a beer.
Yeah, but that's key. Prioritizing what's important to them and not to you. Because sometimes Ro as a creative will want to get certain shots and something happens, we run out of time or whatever.
I have to respect it.
And he'll be like, oh, should we pull him? He's like, I really want to get the shot. I'm like, no, I think they're over it. Let them dance and enjoy themselves.
You got to read the room sometimes.
Yeah, you have to read the room. So
I have Jenn to like bring me back down sometime.
I've heard so many stories that people are like,
I've been there. I've worked for other photographers.
Yeah, where they pull them out for like 45 minutes from the reception to get this one amazing photo and then the one thing they'll remember after the fact is that I missed so much of my party time because of the photographer.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely on the same mindset with regards to that. So some more fun questions. Why do you think that newer photographers struggle?
My thing is, and I've said this before on a podcast, is that there's a perception of that overnight success that is very easily attainable. Like you have people selling you courses like, you know, make this, do this, and like, you know, in an X amount of time. And it's, as we were mentioning before, doesn't happen often to most of us. So I feel people come in or they see someone in their area that's killing it, but they don't know how long it's taken that photographer to get to that level. It's more of like the social media perception, you know, like same reason you see somebody traveling all the time and you're like, oh my God, this person must have a lot of money. That person's probably in debt. It's the perception that the industry gives new photographers that think they can just come in and do the same without putting in the time.
Yeah, it's the drive, and they don't realize the hustle and the sleepless nights and all the work they actually have to put into it, and they give up.
Yeah, I think they don't realize how much work that actually goes into it. You know, when especially when I onboard new students into my course, I give them a checklist. This is all the stuff that you got to do. They're like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. I was like, this is a Monday for me. Okay. Like, this is all the stuff that we all have to do. You see, I think a lot of people get the wrong idea when they see us wedding photographers out there traveling, having a good time. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind closed doors when the cameras are not turned on. Like you said, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into growing and maintaining a business.
I feel like my life is editing.
Not lately. You're semi-retired, so it's fine.
For now.
So how do these new photographers fix that problem? This perception that this is such a glamorous life.
There's no patience.
They should have more patience.
Yeah, not everyone has patience for anything.
They want it now. They want that success now.
Everything, and not just photography. Everything with AIs that we have now, and all these softwares that we use to do things for us. No one wants to wait, and I feel like because of that, it's kind of clouding like the long road to success.
And I think the only people that can combat that are the outliers, the ones who have the drive and can do it.
They have more, what's the word? Perseverance.
Yeah.
Right? They have the willingness to persevere. Even on the low days, they're still going to give 100%.
And I think we saw that a lot during
And COVID.
When people
Once they didn't make it, they didn't make it.
People like they gave up within the first month of COVID, and we're just like, I'm done. Switching completely careers.
COVID exposed so many people, a lot of big names in the industry that
we thought were doing well.
Yeah.
Who may have sold those 6-figure courses.
Right.
And then couldn't last a month in the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of us did what we had to do to.
Yeah. I could have rocked and rolled for another year. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It exposed a lot of truth in the industry.
Mm-hmm. But you kind of see who had the willingness to survive.
And who was actually being honest with their audience. You know? You're talking a lot of game, but you couldn't even last a month. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And the rest of us, we did what we had to survive.
Oh, this is a good segue to my next question.
Okay.
Right. So what do you think is the biggest issue with the education space in our industry?
I feel like there's a lot of people that lie about what they're trying to sell you. They'll, as they're selling their workshop or course, they're, giving you an outline of what they're going to teach. And you're like, you know what? This is what I need, from this workshop. I like what they're going to teach. This sounds like a good workshop for me to take. You take the workshop and half of the stuff that they were supposed to teach, they don't. Mm-hmm. So they're They
got bait and switch.
Yeah. And a lot of times I feel like it's not intentional. I think they just are not prepared enough.
Who's not prepared enough? The student or the teacher?
Whoever's doing this workshop or, seminar.
Yeah, we have run into some unprepared teachers. Scrambling to put together their notes before the actual workshop itself.
And they're not taking this person's who you don't know.
That $1,000 that they spent could have been
their last $1,000.
Exactly.
And here you are half-assing a workshop. Mm-hmm. So I feel there's a lot of that has been happening.
They're using their celebrity to sell courses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're using their name and where they shouldn't even be teaching because they're bad teachers or they're just... they're trying to sell you more as you've already paid them, but now you want extra information.
You want the higher tier? You want the rest of this course?
They're like, I'm going to give you the tip right now, but if you want more, you got to pay more. There's a lot of that. I've attended workshops like that, and luckily it's never been an expensive workshop where I've left there like, all right, they robbed me for my money, but I can sense that they just put something together last minute, and I feel bad for the person who, drove 6 hours to take this workshop.
Spend the last $1,000 on this workshop.
Yeah, like you don't know what the situation. You should be treating every single attendee the same. You should be giving 100%. You should be delivering what you're saying you're going to teach. Mm-hmm. And a lot of time that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to teach now. Like, not even just in our industry, that's a big problem. You can teach on Instagram. You can have a subscription account. You can teach on Patreon. You can teach on Facebook. You can teach on YouTube. TikTok. You could teach on YouTube. And there's just so much information out there. And I think some people fall into the trap of the wrong educator just because they have that access to teach. Mm-hmm. Anybody can be out to teach.
Yeah.
And you don't know what kind of content you're getting until you pay, whatever it is. And you get
I wish there was some kind of a review site for these educators. Are there?
I don't think so.
Just the same way in college, they have like those review sites for teachers.
RateAProfessor.com.
Yeah, Rate a Professor. Actually, the only one I know is like, is this professor hot or not? And then it's like little chili peppers.
Yeah, no, that's the same one, I think, isn't it?
But that rated the teachers like attractiveness, not how well they were as teachers.
So someone made a website years ago.
Grading photographer instructors?
I'm not sure if it's still up.
That would be...
But yeah, I mean, my friend Hassan has had a lot of bad experiences with workshops. If we ever bring him to the podcast, he'll be able to share.
He's going to spill some tea.
He's done chargebacks. He's another one. Like he's similar to what I believe in. Like if you're not going to teach what you're outlining to teach, don't do it at all.
Right.
And you're taking people's hard-earned money. So he's attended workshops when that's happened, and he's never been one to hold back. He'll tell everyone, don't take this guy's or this person's workshop because they ripped me off.
Mm-hmm. And
he told somebody to take my workshop. They didn't buy it yet. So I don't know.
Well, if he's telling someone,
at least he's telling somebody. That's good. I guess. Yeah. I guess he likes me, right?
Yeah.
But
it's just quick money. Like,
well, yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy to sell a course.
I think if you do it right, of course, it's not easy.
Yeah, I am definitely, yeah.
But there's people who do it
listen,
terribly
I've
wrong.
never worked so hard in my life for $1,000. I have never, because I want to affect change in the lives of the people that trusted me with their time and their effort and their money. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've never worked so hard in my life for $1,000.
That's another thing. Like everyone I talk to, they, you know, that has educated at one point, they told us that it's not very, you know, rewarding from the financial aspect, unless you have big numbers, big followers. Then you know, then when you sell a course, you can price it that where hundreds buy it. Of course, you'll make money. But if you're doing like speaking engagements, it's not as rewarding financially. So you have to be doing it because you either love it or you know that's your way to give back to the industry.
Right. And it's a lot of hard work behind it.
There's so much hard work
to that point. So you have to build it up for years to make it rewarding.
I mean, I'm breaking even now, but I'm also putting a lot of money in. But you want to hear my thoughts on the educational industry? I have a lot to say on this topic. I don't know. I'm sorry to hijack your video, your podcast today. But when it comes to educators, my biggest beef with the industry is that there are a lot of folks, just like what you said, they have no business teaching. You know, you basically learned all this information like a week ago or 2 months ago, and basically you're just recycling and regurgitating what you just learned. You're not even experiencing the level of success that you're promising to your students, right? Like, what? Why should you have any credibility?
Yeah.
You haven't even done half the stuff that you're teaching. Why are you even bother teaching it?
You got to have numbers to back it up too. You know, a lot of people will tell you like, hey, let me show you how to be a 6-figure photographer. And they're not even making 6 figures.
Right.
Well, there is one 6-figure photographer I know he's 100% making 6 figures.
Karis is back.
Karis is back. No, and then the other beef that I have with educators is that they are and Karis and I, we actually had this talk over breakfast this morning. It's partially a lie because we don't eat breakfast together technically. I was eating her breakfast.
Eating all my food.
So, but in any case, the biggest beef that I have is when educators kind of sell their product to just anyone who wants to buy it without any consideration to whether or not this program is right fit for them. I'll give you an example. I inherited 2 students who purchased coaching programs from another very well-known educator in our industry. And basically this educator told my students, hey, listen, you charge whatever you believe that you're worth. As long as you believe it, you will get it, right? Without ever looking at this student's portfolio. The thing is, that's not how it works. You can't just go out there and say, hey, listen, I'm a $10,000 wedding photographer now. You can take it. I believe in it. This is what I should be charging. This is my worth. You can't tell me what I'm worth. I tell me what I'm worth, right? But that's not how it works. You know, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I think if one person paid you $10,000, does that really make you a $10,000 photographer?
Right. Are you happy shooting one wedding a year?
So it's. I think the demand has to be there before you go out and charge what you think you're worth. But also the market also dictates a little bit of what that number should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
You could charge whatever you want, you know? But like no one's paying for it, no one's hiring you. Like, what is the point?
Then you need to reevaluate.
Like,
you can have one wedding for the year.
Yes.
Hey, you can go around saying somebody paid me $10,000.
Yeah.
To shoot their wedding.
Right.
Great. How many do you have? One.
Right.
You know, like, so you know, I feel like it all comes down to your goals, financial goals. You know, how much money do you need to make? How many weddings do you need to shoot in order to make that? But yeah, like I see that a lot of times too with people that are not starting out but are going onto their own to build their brand, and because they have the experience, which they do, they feel that they should be charging what, you know, this photographer in the area that's been doing it for 10 years should be charging, and that's not the case.
Right. Your portfolio is going to be a big part of that equation. You know, the connections that you have,
the reputation, the brand.
I have a lot of friends that have been shooting for 10 years plus. A lot of talented friends, you know, and they're not, some of them are not expensive either. They're pretty cheap. They produce great work at cheap prices, right?
Yeah. And that's the other side of the coin. A lot of people don't either overvalue themselves or majority of people undervalue themselves.
Right.
I think 3, 4, 5 years ago, we would not anticipate the prices that we're charging now.
Right.
We would say like, that's crazy. Who would spend that amount of money on this? especially after we started doing album sales. Like, who would invest in their photography? Who would invest in their albums? And then at some point you realize you do have a worth. But it took years to show your value, show your worth.
That's part of a limiting belief that you have about yourself too. You know, you just got to get out of that mindset. Like, I'm not worth it. You got to see, like, I am worth it. So in that way, that part makes sense, right? But you already have so many bookings and so many sales and all that kind of stuff. But if you're starting from zero, and then you have another coach that tells you, hey, listen, you're not making any money right now. Guess what? You have to do double your prices.
that doesn't make sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it will work for some people.
Yeah, it's like, you know why you're not getting bookings? It's because people think that you're cheap. So you need to project this luxury brand so people will pay this high price. Yeah. You know, and I don't agree with that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It could apply to certain people if you're producing
substandard work.
At least, good enough work.
But just like you said, it's a course that's just, outlined to the masses.
Yep.
So how do we fix this problem with like these bad educators? Just have like a review site for workshops.
I think so.
Yeah. The guy who bought it that didn't work should review it, but it's not our job, I don't think.
But I will say though, like the industry is, I mean, there are a lot of us photographers in it, right? But it's still very tiny. We all talk. The gossip goes so fast.
Of course.
Especially
thanks to Rolando,
One of my birds, if one of my birds comes to me before, I'll let everybody know. Yeah. But it's hard, it's hard. And you know what happens too? A lot of people that have been or feel that they've been ripped off, they won't tell anyone. They won't tell anyone what happened because they're ashamed that they got ripped off. So
they won't even say that they...
Yeah, so they're not going to like bash, an educator. A lot of people won't. They'll just be, all right, the course sucked. I'm going to move on.
Mm-hmm. So last question. What do you think are some of the problems with the wedding industry as a whole? Or maybe even, or what do you think are as far as the wedding industry as a whole, do you think it's trending more positively? Are you viewing it as something that's evolving in a positive way? Or do you think it's devolving into something that's potentially ugly? It's not what you signed up for. It's like, this is, I started this like 13 years ago. It's becoming something that I don't really want to be a part of.
No.
I don't think we've reached that moment yet for us. Mm-hmm. I think it's more of like the couples that we attract are staying in the same age range. We have to adapt to how they look for
you
vendors.
guys get older and older every year. And those couples stay the same age.
Exactly. So what we're starting to see now with is it Gen Z, right? Gen Z?
Mm-hmm.
They're in their mid-20s now.
They love to be in front of the camera. So it's like, to me, it's like our ideal clients are coming more and more through the door, but there's no patience. And we're talking about patience. Yeah, they want everything now. You just have to adapt. A lot of them are like, having a friend just follow them around the whole day just to create content for them.
You can hire someone for that,
right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
we actually added it to our pricing.
Yeah.
Just see what happens.
Yeah.
Why not? Might not hire us.
Who's going to do it?
I don't know. One of my brothers or sisters.
I mean, if we could get somebody who we know to be there, they'll get content for us too.
Yeah.
And then we can charge them. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
So they're paying you for you to market yourself with content.
Yeah. So and they get their wedding stuff. I mean, no one's hired it yet because we just added it, but I figured why not? They're going to do it.
Are they shooting with a regular camera or just a phone?
Cell phone.
Yeah. Moses just had a content creator at his wedding the other day.
That was a third party or through him?
Third party.
Yeah, they pay them a couple $100 on that person. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is like, I kind of like where the wedding industry is going. Mm-hmm. It makes me a little bit more comfortable because I have to show who we are more. Mm-hmm. But listen, like some of the best things that have happened to us in our lives is because we've been uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. And that's all I got the question. That's all. You have any questions you want to ask, Jenn Ro?
No, I'm good. I'm sure you had all the good questions.
The best.
They were good.
So what's the hot topics of the day today?
There was a post going on. Apparently it's older, but it's going around again about a woman who texted her photographer 4 years later, demanding a refund because she has since gotten divorced and her photos are useless.
She doesn't need them anymore.
She doesn't need them anymore.
I don't see how that's the photographer's problem.
Exactly.
That's no
Have you guys ever photographed couples who've divorced? You found out through the grapevines that they separated or got divorced?
I got one. Our very first one is we did the wedding in like 2013 or something like that. And they saw I always post like an anniversary post.
Oh, so
their
you're like,
anniversary was
don't do
coming
it.
up.
Oh no.
Anniversary was coming up in like June or whatever it was. And she hit us up in like February and was like, hey, don't post about our anniversary. And I was like, oh.
That's
okay.
awkward.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? When I was working in Soho, I would see the groom
Yeah.
at the deli every morning, and he would not give me an eye. He would not say hi to me or anything.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's him. I remember his name and everything. I was like, you know what? We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
Like,
But we've had people like not outright say anything anymore. But you'll see like on social media, someone's
They're with
weird.
someone.
with someone else.
But no one's
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
asked for their money back. I think that is just
Yeah.
That's kind of
weird.
That's like going shopping and like
You wore the shoes already.
Yeah, like you wore it for 4 years and be like, oh, they don't fit anymore.
Yeah.
like, sorry, I gained 20 pounds.
Yeah, like they don't fit anymore.
but this suit doesn't fit me anymore.
I think people have some nerve when it comes to small businesses where they can just be like, hey, can you do this? Can I do that? But they wouldn't. That's something you would never do to like a big name store or a company. Like
It's
I don't
ridiculous.
know. They try to
That's ridiculous.
take advantage.
Yeah, that is kind of messed up. Yeah.
I just want to say Costco
Our producer just says that Costco has a lifetime return policy.
Nordstrom is really good with their
Even with
policies.
produce, I think. Like the banana's all fucking rotten, and you can just bring it back for a refund.
I was gonna say, like, you know how insurance like works, right? Like, like insurance on like a product.
Mm-hmm.
They sell a whole bunch of policies, but almost there's like a small percentage that claim it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should start charging insurance policies on
in case you get
photos.
divorced.
Yeah, for $750, if you get divorced, I'll give you your money back
No.
5 years from now.
No.
How many people will cash it in?
No.
Do you need a bigger pool, Rolando? Huh? You need a pool house to go along with your pool?
No.
I'm just joking around. I'm just joking.
I would say I think I can count on two hands the number of couples that we've had divorced or separated over the years.
Yep.
On two hands, that's less than 10.
It's about the same for us, I think.
That's good.
Yeah, less than 10. And this is, we're talking over 1,000 weddings. And those are out of those, it's out of those that we keep in touch with. I mean, we don't keep it. I mean,
It could be more. Yeah, we just
we keep in touch with most of them, but not all of them, right? So, but just the ones that I'm aware of, it's less than 10.
These are our earlier clients too. That
Yeah, I think we've all been in this so long that like we wouldn't be surprised if more and more people stop popping up.
It's not a bad thing, if they love the experience they received, they might book you again.
Yeah.
For their
Actually, I had. This has actually happened to us.
You've done a couple, and then they're each respective new weddings, right?
Yep.
Correct. So I had this original couple, and they broke up a month before the wedding. And then when they found their new partners, both of them independently reached out to me to shoot their weddings.
Both their weddings.
It was not awkward. I just had to make sure that I didn't call them by the wrong names.
What about the retainer? Did they ask, can there anything
You know
be
what?
applied?
I mean, had they asked, I would have been happy to because they were paid in full
Oh, crap.
Because it was
because it was a month before the wedding for the first one, so
Right.
they were already paid in full. So
Do they know that you worked with each other?
they do.
Each of them, yeah.
They were probably looking on your blog.
And the guest list
it's like same friends.
the guest list is like, oh, I was at the other wedding. Yeah, I was. But they're just both. Listen, I think a lot of people get the wrong idea about divorces, and people get really.
It wasn't divorced. It broke up.
They broke
before
up
the wedding.
But
Yeah.
even then,
Yeah.
breakups
I think it's a
or
little
divorces,
better.
that's the best thing that could happen to any relationship because they realized that they were not a good fit. And they found people who were happy for that, that they could be happy with.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that one is an asshole and one is, it just means that they weren't right for each other. That's all. That's the best thing that could
That's also
happen.
still yet to be determined
What?
if that person was the better fit.
What, the new person?
Yeah, we don't know that.
Oh no,
I'm
I've met
better
the
than the
new
last one.
spouses. I've met the new spouses. They're good people. They're good people, right? But these are not the things that you get sad about,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're moving on to bigger and better things. That's all. You don't get sad about these things.
Yeah. But you're not getting your money back if you get
Yeah.
divorced.
Yeah, no
Sorry.
Who
refund.
do you think you are? Coming back 4 years later.
Costco? Do I have Costco tattooed on my forehead? Which is coincidentally is Jen's next tattoo. It's Costco. You get your money back right
I
here.
would tell that client, can I have my time back?
Like
if
the
if I
nerve.
can,
Yeah.
I'll give you the money
Nerve.
back. If you
Yeah.
can give me those hours back,
Mm-hmm.
I'll gladly give you the money back. Unless you have a DeLorean outside. I don't see how that's going to happen. Yeah.
Have you guys ever had to give money back?
No.
Yeah, we did because they canceled the wedding and they had paid in full.
I didn't give everything back.
No, but they got back after whatever they paid after retainer.
Oh, so you did a partial refund?
Yeah, it was during COVID. They had a small wedding and they canceled the big wedding, and they had paid in full. So we gave them back.
Anything excess of the retainer?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's very fair. In the few times that we've ever gotten in trouble in our work, I think we usually solve the problem with some freebies, like free albums and stuff like that.
A lot of time is like the time that we have thrown in like a couple of stuff is because it wasn't really our fault, but at that point it's like we're not.
You'd rather just get rid of the problem, right? It's a couple $100.
Let's figure out what we can do to make you feel better, even though we really want to say it's your fault why that happened, but it looks petty.
Yeah. So moral of the story, you do not get your money back if you get divorced.
Don't you dare ask for your money back.
Do I look like Costco to you? Huh? Anyway, if there's anything that we learned today is that we
don't give money back.
We don't give refunds. Once your money's in our account,
no refunds.
It's all sales are final. We also know that we also learned today that Jen has a lot of tattoos. I'm only aware of 2 of them. She could have other very curious ones in curious places. I guess we'll find out this summer when we go over to the pool in the new pool house that they just purchased. But guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you guys would like to learn a little bit more about what we do here in the podcast, if you guys want to check out some more BTS and what we do behind the scenes, you guys can check out all of that on Instagram at focused.af. You can also check us out on our website at focus-af.com. Don't ask me why that is. This is what was available to us, and that's what we got. All right. So it's focus-af.com, where you can check out our blog posts and see what's more behind the scenes and catch up on all our latest episodes. You guys can also subscribe to us on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us there. Anyway, my name is Ben.
This is Karis.
I'm Ro.
And I'm Jen.
And thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. And hope you guys are focused AF.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye. Annyeong.
Focused AF is a fun, business-focused podcast for wedding creatives.
Co-hosted by award-winning husband and wife wedding photography teams, Ben and Karis.
And Jenn Ro, where we help fellow wedding creatives with their sales and marketing.
With laid-back conversations and real talk with some of our most favorite people in the universe.
And with that being said, are you focused AF?
I am focused AF today.
We are Focused AF.
I think I might be focused AF.
Welcome to the Focused AF podcast.